No Doubt would have a fair deal of success in the 90s and early 2000s thanks to albums like Tragic Kingdom and Rocksteady. Prior to Gwen Stefani fronting the group, No Doubt was led by John Spence in the mid to late 80s. But what happened to Spence and how did Stefani end up becoming the group's frontwoman? That's what we're going to explore in today's video. In the mid-1980s, John Spence would live in Orange, California, and work at a Dairy Queen alongside Gwen Stefani and her older brother Eric. The trio would eventually concoct a plan to start a band by 1986, calling themselves No Doubt. The name for the group would be inspired by a phrase that Spence used time and time again to respond to others. The earliest incarnation of No Doubt would be a 9-piece group that took inspiration from British ska groups like Madness, The English Beat, and The Specials, along with the stage antics of the punk rock group Bad Brains. Spence would front the band while Stefani would do backing vocals and Eric would play keyboards. Eric would tell the LA Times in 1992, those bands had all broken up, he wanted to give their music to the fans again and just keep it alive. Gwen, meanwhile, would tell Loudersound, Eric was the really talented and overly hyper older brother who was always pounding on the piano, and I was the lazy girl watching the Brady Bunch. Gwen would add to Interview Magazine, I wasn't doing anything and he would say, come on in here and sing with me. By her brother's own admission, Gwen was reluctant to sing in the group and was pretty shy at first. No Doubt soon started becoming a fixture on the Anaheim party circuit, with Gwen recalling to Spin Magazine, we sucked, but for some reason there was automatically this built-in following. People loved the fact that it was a girl, that it was two-tone, that it was me and John up there. She would add to the LA Times, he, referring to Spence, couldn't really sing, but he could yell, and he was really amazing on stage. He did backflips, was really energetic, he was the one who was so happy all the time. Despite his onstage antics, offstage to some of those close to him, Spence was quiet and introverted and rarely talked about his troubled home life. By mid-December of 1987, Spence sold his clothes, his scooter, and a number of his records. In addition to that, he had recently crashed his father's car and had split from his girlfriend. Looking back, those close to him noted that the frontman had probably planned what was about to come next. It was the same year that Indian-born and British-raised bassist Tony Kanal joined the band and soon enough became their manager and Gwen's boyfriend. It was on December 21st, 1987, Kanal received a phone call from Eric Stefani, recalling to Spin. He just said, come over right away. I got there and he said, John's dead. The frontman would take his life sitting alone in his car in a parking lot of a local Anaheim building. All of those close to Spence were shocked at the news and didn't see any warning signs of what was to come. Several days prior to his death, Spence had passed his driver's test with bandmate Alan Mead, recalling in the book Gwen Stefani and No Doubt, A Simple Kind of Life. He was so happy. Spencer's death would come 4 days prior to Christmas, and he would be just 18 years old. No Doubt had only been together for about 9 months at the time of his death, and those close to him would reveal in the same book that after his death, more of the pieces of the puzzle seemed to come together, with one of his friends revealing that they had learned about a previous time Spence had tried to take his life 9 months prior, but failed. Given what she knew about his background, Gwen was pretty shocked at the news, recalling, I knew he had problems with his family, I knew he had problems with depression in high school, but when it happened, things were so normal. It was awful. It was horrible. She would elaborate, telling Spin Magazine, there were some problems there. He was kind of in and out of high school. His mom kept taking him out of school. He wasn't really in with a bad crowd, but his mom was really paranoid about it. For all the years I knew the guy, I only went to his house one time, but compared to my family, the Brady Bunch family, church every Sunday, it was different. It was shortly prior to his death that one of his friends revealed in the same book that Spence also had a difficult relationship with his father, and he was pouring his emotions into poetry. Before Spence's death, No Doubt had booked a gig at the LA venue The Roxy for December 30th, 1987. That was supposed to be their big break. Many bigwigs from the music industry and A&R people were supposed to be in attendance that night, and it was following Spence's death, No Doubt convened a meeting with their surviving members to decide what to do next. They would opt to split up and use the Roxy show to pay tribute to their departed bandmate. Mead would recall about the tribute show in the same book saying, on stage I kept a part of John with me because I always wanted to give the audience what he gave them. John taught me how to do backflips, so I pulled one off there in memory of him. The band used a tribute show to also announce it was the end of the group, with Kanal telling the LA Times, everyone in the audience was crying and we were really depressed on stage. Eventually, the surviving members of No Doubt would decide to continue on, feeling that's what Spence would have wanted. For a short period of time, Alan, Mead, and Stefani would share vocal duties until Mead left the group in 1989, with Gwen taking over permanently. No Doubt would eventually cement their best-known lineup over the next several years from 1987 to 1989, with guitarist Tom Dumont joining the group in 1988, with drummer Adrian Young coming on board in 1989. Gwen's brother Eric, meanwhile, would quit the group in the mid-90s to become an animator for several TV shows, including The Simpsons and Ren and Stimpy. It was by the time Gwen started fronting the group permanently that the band also changed their sound to fit Gwen's singing style, with Kanal telling the LA Times, "A year into the band it evolved. We decided we're going to write with all the different music we like. We're not going to put a limit on what we play. We brought in some punk and funk and metal, some hard rock, it just opened up." No Doubt would eventually catch the attention of Interscope Records, who they signed a label deal with in 1990, and the rest was history. That does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in Rock and Roll True Stories.